Hello, everybody, and welcome to the In From Japan podcast, episode 54, the podcast where we talk about the latest news on Japan-developed games and other things in relation to them, available on YouTube and in most places podcasts can be found. As always, I'm your host, Erroll Moss, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Jason Corder, the phenomenon from Surrey.
Hey.
I'm saying everything in the wrong order today.
It's fine.
And, we have a special guest, Fogi.
What it do? How's everybody doing today?
Hey, man. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure.
The pleasure's all mine, honestly.
Nice.
So, for those who don't know, who are you?
I am, my online name is Fogi, aka Fogi Bear. My real name is Jeff. But ever since 22 Jump Street, I've had to kind of like let that name die down a little bit because I get the my name is Jeff all the time. It drives me crazy.
Oh yeah.
But I am I guess I'm just a fake Twitter comedian / YouTuber / streamer. all fake, by the way. I do it, but I don't do it to the point to where like I'm of notoriety. I just have fun, man. I just have fun on the internet. I'm your favorite comedian's comedian is what I call myself in my title, so I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna rock that with it.
Yeah, I was reading that when I was like putting stuff together. I was like, wait, what?
The problem is like it's gotten to the point to where even when I'm trying to be serious with stuff, it still comes out as a joke and makes people laugh. It's like, no, I'm being serious, but people are like, oh, I know you're not. I'm like, I can't tell them they're wrong. I guess I don't know.
Oh
so
no,
I just rock with it, man. It's a blessing and a curse.
Now, the name Fogi, is there an origin behind it? Is it something you just came up with one day?
So, in high school, I was in the yearbook staff, and my homie, Aaron, he and I were, like, pretty tight. And we were always, like, doing assignments together and whatnot. And so, they would call him Yogi, and then my friend would call me Fogi. And it was Fogi and Yogi ever since. So,
That's a good story. Nice.
Call back to the glory days, you know.
Well, at least they didn't call you Boo Boo.
Yeah, that would have been awkward. That would have been real awkward.
Yeah.
Because I was older than him too, the thing. So.
And it's not Foggy, as you explained in the recent video. Calling people out.
The best part about that video is people are like, "Oh, dude, I've been saying it wrong this whole time." I'm like, I know you have, and it's okay. It's okay.
Well, because I remember I was watching when you and our past guest Ian Preschel were doing your afternoon live stream podcast. He said Foggy, and I was like, "Oh no, Ian! Oh no! Oh no!"
Yeah, I wanted to correct him in that moment, but I was like, I'm gonna let him run with it. I want to see what happens. I'm gonna let it keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
You didn't want him to lose the thought because he was talking about. I forgot what he was talking about, but.
Yeah, because you.
Oh, it was because of that dude who. It was because of that, randos in the chat who say problematic things.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Man, I really hope Twitch does something.
It's always just chatting.
It is.
That happened to my friend this morning too.
That's so bad. Twitch needs to do better with their moderation. But I think the problem is with Twitch is that we can report people, and we know there's a great chance that they're not going to do much about it. So.
Yeah, it's a mess. But anyway, back to our
back to the phone conversation.
Regularly. Yeah. So you do a couple of. You have your YouTube channel where you just talk about stuff. I guess I've browsed it a little bit.
So I do mainly fighting game content just because there's a pretty big gap where a lot of people put out content, but it's very high level and not easily obtainable or understandable. So what I was trying to do last year was work on videos that define fighting game terms and concepts within like a minute to 2 minute confines. Which is really good. It's a lot of work just because you have to get things just right, in particular like training mode, and like make sure your definition is okay, because if it's not, people will call you out on it and then be like, "Oh, well, why are you doing this? You don't know what you're talking about." And then I've added the little Foggy part.
Oh, people do that whenever you talk about anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't have even when you're trying to do something nice for the people, it's like people just want to find something to be mad at. I've got pretty good reception on it though. Before I actually did stuff for the Smash community for a while, so I did a lot of stuff for Smash Studios for about 2 years, and then I left that. I have a 9 to 5 because
right in time, right? Because before all the news came out.
Before
I said
before
right
the
in
Smash
time.
community
Huh?
had to get his mass exodus and get equipment in check. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much when I stopped talking to all those people and went more on the FGC route. I have a day job because we know my content does not pay the bills, and that's totally okay with me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel that. I also have a day job.
Yeah. But yeah, the YouTube just kind of. I'm gonna use it for more thought pieces and conversation pieces, probably some more like FGC stuff. I want to get back into doing like shorts and skits as well, but it's just hard with COVID going on. So
Yeah, like I remember you were like, when I invited you to our podcast, you were like, "Oh yeah, you can come on my podcast," and I'm like, I don't even know what I'd even talk about. I was like, I don't.
Just be your best self. That's all we ask.
I can think of something.
Exactly. Like the thing is, when you start to be something you're not, that's when people can tell that it's not authentic, and it gets really awkward.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I look forward to whenever that is, whatever I talk about.
I'm gonna get through this month of interviews and stuff that I'm doing. I'm gonna take a little bit of time off and do some solo episodes, and I'll definitely hit you up. So.
Yeah, no worries. But take your time.
I think we should.
But we're going to move on to the Japanese games we've been playing. And Fogi, if you haven't been playing any Japanese games recently, that's okay.
Oh, no.
But if you have, let us know what they are.
So, most recently, the game that I've been playing that I have a love-hate relationship with, Street Fighter V. The game makes me want to just, punch my monitor sometimes, but it's whatever. And I recently beat Persona 4 Golden off stream, and that's right. That might be one of my favorite games of all time already, just because it just invokes so many good feelings and memories, and that time period for me was really special. And there's a big chunk of games I missed from 2011 to 2017, and that was one of them. And I'm really glad I played it. So
real quick, which ending did you get?
I got the true ending.
Oh, nice.
I'll admit, I used a guide to make sure I got my days right, and not necessarily anything else. Just to make sure
you kind of need to.
There's no shame in that. Trust me, there's no shame in that.
But I feel like a game like that, I think any of the Persona games, honestly, they're meant to be experienced kind of with a guide because of how detailed it gets. Because it tells you stuff, but it doesn't tell you stuff at the same time. So the end part of the game, you guys know, the end part of the game, you can easily screw that up. And 3 or 4 choices and be like, well, there you go.
I got the bad ending 3 times in a row.
Oh, no.
So I just had to have a guide at some point. And the game is also steeped in so much Japanese culture that you just have to need a guide for a lot of the stuff, say the tests, the midterms, whatever. So yeah,
because if you don't get those tests right, oh my gosh, it takes forever to get skills up and whatnot. And without the guide for the test, it's bro, I'm not trying to read all this text. This is a visual novel at some points. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I'm off to P5 and Yakuza. Those are the next 2 games on the list.
Nice.
Yakuza 7 or Yakuza all of them?
I'm gonna start with, I guess 7's Like a Dragon, right?
Yeah, Like a Dragon. I say 7 just because it's shorter.
The Yakuza games. Then I'm gonna go play the other ones since the collection's on Game Pass.
That was such a at the same time. I don't know. Well, that's cool. Persona 4, I haven't played Golden. I played the first back in 2013. On the PS2 version. I got it on at the local used game store, and it had the instruction manual, remember those, and the soundtrack intact.
Nice.
And I got really lucky. Yeah, I gave the soundtrack to my friend later, but
they recently put all the Persona music on Spotify for those.
Yeah, because I knew something like that would happen eventually, so it's just kind of all right. But yeah, I played at a time that I was like super depressed, and it helped me. Like Persona 4 it might be my least favorite of the 3, 4, and 5, but I still have like a soft spot for it because I was because of where I was at in life at the time.
Yeah, I feel that.
I haven't played Golden yet though. I don't know if I'm gonna play Golden ever, just because there's so many other games to play. But maybe someday.
The curse is a blessing and a curse having all these games, but not enough time to play them all.
Yeah.
So last week I was talking about how I was playing an old game called Kid Dracula and Super Mario Sunshine. I've been busy working on other stuff, so I haven't really been playing games that much. But today I tried the Balan Wonderland demo, and I thought it was really fun. I heard a lot of bad things about it. Like people are like, "Oh," and like it looks fine to me. The music's really good. Felt okay. So you play as one of these two kids, and I forgot their names. Sorry, but like it's a 3D platformer. It's a Yuji Naka 3D platformer. So your hub world is basically like the Chow Garden, but you have these little things called Tims. And you feed them these gems you get in the other levels. And so the main mechanic is that your character gets different costumes depending on which set of levels they're in, and the different costumes give you different abilities. But the weird thing was the costumes also kind of serve as your health.
Oh. Like as an armor piece and as
you
your
can
health,
get
right?
you get up to 3 costumes. And you can switch between them, or 3 costumes at a time. And you can switch between them. There's like one that's literally the Sonic, the Sonic Adventure. What is it called? Not Spin Dash. The lock on. The whole. Yeah, there's one. There's one that literally does that.
Well, it is after all a Yuji Naka game.
Yeah, it. You can feel like that Yuji Naka influence in it. I really liked it. And it's also like a collectathon game because you have to collect trophies to unlock the other levels. I'm trying to think of like what else there was.
Is there anything that sets it apart? Because at this point it just sounds like every other platformer we've played so far.
Well, the costume thing seems pretty unique to me.
I mean, you could get those special abilities with Cappy in Mario Odyssey, or
yeah, but the special abilities are also your health. Like that's the interesting thing. To me.
It sounds kind of like Moonlighter in a sense, with the armor pieces being your health and whatnot. Slightly,
maybe, but yeah, I thought it was really fun, and there's a couple levels in it. It's like the 3 levels of the first world. And then 1 level of the 4th world and 1 level of like the 6th world, and there are just different little like there are puzzles that you use certain costumes to solve. But if you don't have like a specific an ability, like a costume with a specific ability to like help you get from one platform to another, as long as there's like a little checkpoint nearby, you can go and you can change into any costume you've unlocked.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was nice because it's like oh, I don't have a jump. There's no like costume with like a floaty jump here, and it's like oh, but there's that little portal, and I can change my costume to the one I unlocked with the floaty jump, so then I can actually get through the rest of the level. I'm still I still need to play it a little more. I'm not sure if save file transfers, but the demo does save, so you won't lose your progress or anything.
Nice.
And for the little Chow-like things, the Tims, in their like little Chow Garden-ish thing, I'm not sure how it works, but you put them on this wheel, and I don't know what, something about them going on the wheel makes this number go up, and your goal is to hit a certain number to unlock like another part of the area for them. You have to get to 50 and you'll unlock this little tower they can go in. Or you get to like 100 and you unlock this other thing.
I was not expecting the Price is Right in this game.
Not that kind of wheel. It's like a wheel that they like the Tims like hop on to make spin. And I don't know if it's like the number of rotations or I'm not sure if it's like the weight or how many gems they've eaten or what it is exactly. There are also these little sections where you can play as the titular character Balan himself, the dude with the smiley dude with the hat, and it's kind of just like a very easy quick time event. Also, after the first boss, there was a musical number.
Oh,
so that was great. They just all started everybody started dancing.
I'm not gonna lie. Every time you said they were Tims, I was thinking like some Tims, like the boots.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're called Tims. They're these little. Some of them. Most of them look like these little weird like chick. What are those things called? Like peeps.
Almost. Okay.
Almost like chow peeps, but some of them aren't like birds. There's one I got that was like a little cat thing. So I'm like, oh, okay. They're not all little bird things. Not a bunch of little. Well, they're not angry birds. Little happy birds. But yeah, it's very interesting. I wish it feels so hard to describe. I thought I would describe it so much better. But it's one of those things where you gotta try it. You gotta experience for yourself. Oh, also I tried it on PS5 because I heard on Switch it runs like garbage.
The good old Switch coming in clutch.
And
yep.
And the only real critique I have of it is there's a bit of character pop in and pop out. For some of the characters that are just kind of standing around the world. Well, they're not standing. They're just kind of dancing in one place. Or like
what about...
And
Yeah, go ahead.
And also for some costumes, if it has a jump ability, every face button is jump.
All jump, no breaks.
Which... I don't think that's a detriment to. Some people see that as a detriment. I think it's like, well, that could actually be a good thing because some people might be used to having jump as a different, depending on what they play.
Sure, but if the controls can be switched around or modified in the settings, it shouldn't be that much of a positive.
I mean, it's not like you need. It's not like the jump. Like all the buttons being jumped for certain costumes, it's not. The only problem with it is those costumes don't have an offensive move. You'd have to switch the costume if some enemies pop up. But since you have you have up to 3 costumes. If you have an offensive costume, you just switch to that one.
Okay.
That, and I wish the switching was a little faster.
It kind of just feels a bit underutilized if every button just turns into jump.
Yeah. Again, this is just a demo. I do recommend at least trying it for yourself. It was a lot more fun than I expected.
One quick question about the platforming of it all. How does the jumping feel? Because platformers are made or are broken by their jumping.
It felt okay to me. It felt a little bit. Depending on what costume you have, it could feel a little bit weighty. But most of the time it was fine.
Okay. Oh,
it's just some things you just have to make sure you have a certain costume to like jump a certain way or to go across to a certain platform, and you just learn that over time how to do different things.
All right, it's something that I'll have to just find out for myself and then give it a real try because it's interesting. You saying it's so much fun and everyone else it's like maybe this isn't it. Like it.
And I'm not that big on 3D platformers either.
Yeah.
Besides Spyro Year of the Dragon and again the Sonic Adventure 2. So like. And this has that nostalgic feel.
Okay.
And I think that's the problem because it feels to some it can feel like antiquated, like dated in some ways. Yeah.
I can't as many platformers that they are out there. I love you, platform makers, but I just can't keep doing them. I don't know what it is.
That's understandable. I don't play a lot of them, so that's why I like every once in a while there's one that I'm like, all right, this is great. So what about you, Jason? You play more of Grandia?
Yeah, I just finished about an hour ago playing Grandia. I'm at hour 13, which is about half of the game. I only have the 3 core members so far in my party. It's very fun. It's a very breezy adventure. It's not the deepest or the most epic. It's just a kid wants to go on an adventure, and it's not even that deep. It's really just it feels like a Saturday morning cartoon, but there is some pedigree in the art direction and in the music, and as you know,
I mean, Saturday morning cartoon isn't bad. We don't even have those anymore.
no, it's not bad, but when I think about JRPGs, I kind of expect some kind of depth, some kind of rumination, what it means to be a man, or what it means to be in a war, something like that, like some deep discussion on a human condition. But here it's just we're going on an adventure. It's like it's The Hobbit compared to everything else, and it's fine. It's not the worst thing. If you need to decompress, or if you feel stressed by other games, this might be a good alternative. And as I've discussed before, the Grandia battle system is probably my favorite in any JRPG. But this iteration it's the first one. It's not well optimized because you can steamroll through almost every enemy, and it doesn't feel all that difficult or challenging. So that's kind of the lesser of the battle system, but it's still fun. I'm still enjoying it. I think I'm gonna power through it all, and then switch to something else. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying it.
Grandia was a game I never got to play because I never owned a PS2, so I'm gonna get that.
Oh, there's a remaster now.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it's also on PC, so if maybe that's your preferred system, you can get it on that.
I might get it on Switch so I can just lay on the couch and play it.
Oh, the Switch is excellent for it. Recently it was on sale for like $20, like the HD Remaster Collection. So if it ever comes up again, I'll hit you up and send it your way. Please so yeah.
There's also that, I don't think Grandia's on it, but there's that retro and remake sale on PS4 and PS5 right now.
No, it's not on it.
That has a lot of good games. It's not on that, but it has a lot of other good games like Gravity Rush 2. I picked up Wild Arms 3, so that's on my list of like JRPGs to play that I can actually access officially.
Yeah. I still have Wild Arms 1 to play. Like it was a few.
I mean, I haven't played the other two. It's just that was the easiest to get.
Yeah, like I had a Vita all those years ago, and I thought to myself, "Hey,
console of all time, by the way."
Most definitely. And I thought to myself, hey. And I thought to myself, hey, I have all these JRPG blind spots that I need to fill, and Wild Arms was a PlayStation 1 classic, and I thought, okay, I'll just get to it. Still haven't played it. I also have Xenogears. Yeah, Xenogears
would be the one, yeah.
And Tactics Ogre, Let's Cling Together, which I have played a fair amount of, and I really enjoy. I go as far as say I like Tactics Ogre more than Fire Emblem. So fight me on that if you don't like it. But yeah, Wild Arms is good. I also saw Arc the Lad, which I'm tempted to try, and Rogue Galaxy, which you have some experience with, Erroll.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe. I don't want to spend too much money on games this year. I kind of want to stick to my backlog. So that's my one.
Is there just not as much stuff that interests you?
No, it definitely interests me, but I kind of want to chip away at my backlog instead of exponentially letting it keep growing.
Yeah.
Because
It's
Because
that little monster.
Yeah,
just
that's the problem I'm
under the
having.
bed, and you look down. It's like, oh man, I have a lot of stuff in my bed to clean up.
yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I keep forgetting that I have other platforms that I can play on. Like
Yeah,
sometimes I'll be stuck to the Switch or the PlayStation, and I'll keep forgetting that I have my Steam library still lurking in a corner and staring at me. So yeah, that's all for now.
All right, so moving on to the In From Japan J list, where we talk about recent video game related entertainment news. This is not technically video game related, but you know how I love talking about tokusatsu and kaiju stuff on this podcast. Our Godzilla vs. Kong trailer reacts video is out. It's our first In From Japan reacts, where I react to that. Go check it out if you feel so inclined to. I don't know.
Gotta link it in the show notes. Gotta link it.
Look, I know people don't like the MonsterVerse, and it's understandable, but I enjoy it. All right?
I like this kind of movies because you can just turn your brain off and just watch it, and you don't need to care about, like, is this an Oscar-worthy film and stuff like that.
Well, because here's the thing. Kaiju movies, and, I mean, you've lived in Japan, so maybe you know a little bit about this. Like, kaiju movies in Japan, yeah, they're goofy, but there's always, like, some kind of commentary underneath the goofiness.
Social political commentary.
This stuff, yeah, this stuff does not really... The MonsterVerse doesn't exactly have
yeah,
that.
the first Godzilla had it a little bit, and then I haven't watched any of the Kong movies, but the second Godzilla, it just was like let's put these special effects and monsters and kaiju and fight each other. It's like, okay. That's fine.
I'd say Kong Skull Island does have some kind of social political commentary because it takes place during the Vietnam War and it kind of spotlights how excessive the American war machine is and how toxic masculinity can be.
A lot of people who hate the rest of the MonsterVerse love Kong Skull Island or think it's the best one, which I can understand why. I loved watching. I saw King of the Monsters in theaters, and I loved it. I wish I could see Godzilla vs. Kong in theaters, but I'm not gonna do that.
Well, you can get it on HBO Max.
Yeah, I have HBO Max, and I have a nice TV.
Yep. Personally, I'm okay with staying at home and watching all these movies from the comfort of my own couch until the world is in some form of normalcy. So
yeah,
I hope movie theaters don't completely go away. Because they're nice. Not that I win a lot, but, you know, it was like every once in a while, Godzilla vs. Kong would be like one of the few occasions.
I had the AMC A-list, so I was in that theater probably 1 to 2 times a week in the summertime, and then at least like 4 to 5 times a month in the off season, quote unquote.
Nice.
Just watching whatever because I could.
And then there was news because it was supposed to come out March 26th, but then it got delayed 5 days to March 31st for the U.S. The international date, I think, was not affected. So hopefully I can avoid spoilers.
I wonder why.
Not that you really...
It's so weird.
A lot of people... some rumors are saying that it's because of the Snyder Cut of Justice League being moved to March. And I tweeted something, and nobody liked my amazing tweet where I said... I said something like, oh, of course Godzilla vs. Kong was moved back for a worse movie, and then I put in parentheses, why are you booing me? I'm right.
The Snyder Cut is gonna be either really, really
a polished
bad,
turd is still a turd. Doesn't matter how shiny
or
you
it's
make
gonna
it.
be extremely bad. I'm ready for the chaos that ensues for all the nerds that have asked for the Snyder Cut for the last 5+ years.
It's not going to be any good. Just like the Batman v Superman extended cut. You didn't make it better, you just made it longer.
All the Supercut had, it added some context. And other than that, it's still not good. You're correct.
No. And I know that's an opinion, but I'll probably be the guy, instead of saying Batman v Superman was a good movie, I'll probably be the guy saying Godzilla vs. Kong was a good movie, even if it might not be. Whatever.
Hey, to each their own. To each their own.
Yeah. But real quick, who are we rooting for? Like, who do you think will win?
Well, they're probably going to team up.
I know. But who do you think would win? Godzilla versus Kong?
Well, Godzilla is... Well, because all Kong has is that axe that apparently can absorb Godzilla's atomic breath somehow, and he has to angle that right to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a meme of.
So I think it's not a fair.
I saw a meme of Godzilla.
But Godzilla, but King Kong does have opposable thumbs, so he does have that over Godzilla.
Well, there goes that. What were you gonna say, Fogi?
I saw a meme of Godzilla crossing up King Kong on the basketball court and laying a basketball. So I gotta go with Godzilla off the meme alone.
Yeah.
There is a comic book that is Godzilla versus Charles Barkley.
I think it was from that comic book then, because that was so funny.
Yeah.
Just the image of like Godzilla trying to dribble a basketball like between the legs and whatnot. Like, it's not possible, but it's still funny to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look out for maybe a special podcast regarding kaiju stuff later on in March. We'll see. Hint, hint. Anyway. Next thing, Skull Island anime series. I don't know if it's actually anime, but announced by Netflix. So this is from IGN by Matt Perslow. Netflix has announced Skull Island, a new anime series set in the legendary Monsterverse. It will be produced by Powerhouse Animation, the studio behind Castlevania. One, why is this on Netflix and not on HBO Max?
Probably licensing. Like, I'm not gonna say I know anything, but I will say some companies, they'd rather license the IP to other people and get money that way versus producing it themselves, because it saves them the time and the cost. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
There was an article in, which was it, Variety, that spoke about something similar, where Warner Brothers had the option of producing it themselves, and they didn't really feel like it. But Netflix is trying to build a solid stable of IP, which they can like keep in rotation endlessly, and they'll just bite at anything that's available. So Warner Brothers serving this on a platter is just easy access for Netflix, and Netflix makes a ton of money from all of this, and HBO Max makes a ton of money off of licensing. So I think it's something that they don't have to put in any effort, but they make a lot of dough. So yeah, I think that's the route.
And like, I think this is Netflix's first year where they're gonna actually turn a profit, from what I remember reading like last week. Like, that's how many subscribers they have now. Because they're operating at a loss for a long time.
Yeah, since I want to say like 5 years ago, they've been operating at a loss consistently, and it's amazing that they're still around.
Yeah.
It's not so it's not technically anime. It's just that anime-ish animation that Powerhouse does. I'm excited to see that because I have the Skull Island art book that I somehow got for like $3.
Oh, snap!
And there's a lot of unused stuff in there. That they could use for this.
I think Netflix has proven with Castlevania that they can do good animated series, and they've done it with some other originals as well. So I think people
She-Ra, Kipo.
Yeah.
Those are the only two that come to mind for me. But.
And like they've proven in good faith that they can do the series justice. Now, will it get more than 2 seasons? Is the real question. That's another story for another day.
I'm not expecting it to get. I'm not expecting it to get more than 1 season, honestly. Because kaiju stuff is a niche thing, and we don't know anything else about it except for where it's set.
Yeah.
So. And last on the J list is first Shin Ultraman teaser released. I wasn't going to do a reaction to this because it was like too short. Once a full trailer is out, I'll do a reaction to it. But so Shin Ultraman, the sequel to Shin Godzilla. No, I'm just kidding. Same director.
It could be.
A lot of the same actors.
We don't know yet.
A lot of the same actors and the same director. But yes, there was a teaser and it showed a couple of kaiju and Ultraman himself real quick, and that's about it. I don't know what it said because it was in Japanese, and I don't know how to read Japanese. But I'm still excited as a big Ultraman fan. I don't know why. I almost didn't say fan. I guess I'm Ultraman now.
Let's take the mantle over.
Yeah.
I remember when I lived in Japan, like seeing the Ultraman stuff everywhere, and like I didn't know what it was at first, and I never got to see Ultraman in any form of English either, no subtitles and whatnot. But I would just see the figure and know, like, oh, okay, it's like Power Rangers but different. That was my 7-year-old brain at the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I thought when 4Kids made their dub of Ultraman Tiga, which was my first... Well, not actually my first... yes. My first exposure to Ultraman. My first exposure to Subaraya was... I'm dating myself here, but Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, which is an adaptation of Gridman, which is a different thing, and yeah.
My first exposure to Ultraman is like off-brand toys in the supermarket, or like trading cards I'd see sporadically on a schoolyard. Like that's my first exposure, and
trading cards.
Yeah, I always thought it was cool, but I had no idea what it was.
Yeah, like during this pandemic, Subaraya has really been. Well, I mean, they had this plan before, but like Subaraya has really been like pumping out the Ultraman content internationally. So that's been like they aired all of Ultraman Z, the last series, on YouTube. They aired, or they're currently airing a different Ultraman series, Ultra Fight, or what was it? Ultra Galaxy Fight: The Absolute Conspiracy. And then they just have, random episodes of different Ultraman shows here and there that they like to highlight. So they're doing a really good job with that. It's a great time to be a Tokusatsu fan. There's also, like, officially English sub Kamen Rider and Sentai and more stuff coming. So it's just great.
It's all turning up Millhouse for Erroll.
Love to see it.
Yep. All right. So moving on to recommended content other than news from the past week listed out, links in the description. We have What If Capcom Made a Godzilla Game Just Like Monster Hunter by Eric Switzer, over at The Gamer. Forget He or She, Godzilla is a Gender-Neutral Icon by Bella Blondeau over at The Gamer. A very interesting read about how in different movies characters say different things about Godzilla in terms of gender and all that. And I was like, oh, I never noticed that. Well, I haven't seen that many Godzilla movies. I'm going to be honest with you.
Wow. Breaking my heart over here, man.
I've seen, like... Let's see. I've seen, like, most of the Heisei and Millennium era. A couple of the show... Okay, I guess that's a lot more than I thought.
Give yourself some credit, bro.
Yeah. But, it's been a while since I've seen those movies, is what I mean.
Yeah, I get it. 'Cause I saw...
Couple of years.
I mean, the last time I watched a Godzilla movie was probably when I was in Japan 20 plus years ago. So, like, actually 20 years ago this year. Wow. I'm
dang.
Up there.
And it was the American Godzilla 1998.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No, it was I don't even know which. Again, like, there's a 3-year period in my life where I watched a lot of pop culture and media with no subtitles, and all in Japanese. So I have no idea what the actual name of it was. I just knew that it was Godzilla, or it was Pokemon, or it was Dragon Ball Z, or something like that. So,
like, you did pop culture in hard mode.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think that kind of contributes to why I prefer. I'm gonna get slandered for this, but I prefer my anime dubbed over sub, just because, like,
that's fine. That is perfectly fine with
like,
me.
I want to watch it and consume it, and like, I'm just so used to not reading it, and not because I don't want to, but like, even in Japanese, I would just watch it and just take in for what it was, and would get the story from just the actions and like character interactions and whatnot. So,
and the other thing is, like, dubs aren't that bad.
No,
now.
they aren't.
Like, some people are still very anti-dub, and it's like, no, it's not. I mean, sometimes the casting feels kind of off, but it depends, because I'm a big fan of One Piece, and like for the main cast, for the Funimation dub, I think it's fine. When you get to the extended characters, it gets really hit or miss.
But those guys aren't around very long in the universe, so
they come and go.
Yeah, well, it is 1,000 chapters deep, so you never know.
1001.
Gosh,
now.
man, I remember. Oh my goodness, I know we're going off track, but like One Piece, I watched a whole One Piece movie in Japanese on TV one night. I watched many episodes, and I think it was still pre-Grand Line, and it was still before like they found Ace in the prison. Because the last thing I remember reading was they like busted Ace out of
so
prison.
before Impel Down.
Yeah, like I was probably in chapter manga wise. I think the number that sticks out in my head is like 372, something like that, maybe.
Yeah, that was a while back.
A long time ago. Again, 20 years ago.
All right. Before we get too off track with that, moving on. Godzilla sends off Pride Month with coming out stop motion short by Lynzee Loveridge, Anime News Network. It's an old story, but I thought it was relevant to the previous one.
Yeah.
Okay, solid.
Because Godzilla says trans rights.
Turn it up.
Like that's actually canon. That's actually canon.
Turn it up.
Well, there you go. You love to see it.
Ninja is just the latest man to follow the Billy Graham rule by Bella Blondeau over at The Gamer.
Oh, gosh.
I put Bella's articles here because she's a good writer and she just left The Gamer. So I just wanted to highlight her work because she does a lot of good work.
Yeah.
So go send her some love over on Twitter. I don't know her Twitter name off the top of my head, but I'm sure if you search her full name,
I'll
you'll
look
find
it up
pretty fast.
in case we circle back to it.
We have Fashion in Shonen Anime by Mother's Basement over on YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah.
We have Preview. What?
No, I was gonna say real quick. Kubo Taito, best man to ever draw drip on manga paper.
I don't know about that.
L drip.
Preview Balan Wonderworld costumes could be a boon or its doom by Benjamin Maltbie for Siliconera. Who actually gets to escape into fandom by Stitch for Teen Vogue. And how r/Wall Street Bets gamed the stock of GameStop by Elizabeth Lopato for The Verge.
She's a great writer as well.
This GameStop stuff has been insane.
It's so nuts, and America's just getting exposed.
Money is fake. Money is fake. Nothing is real. Time is an illusion.
Exactly. Spend now, spend later. That's what money does, baby.
All right, so now it's time for the news rundown. So I'll let Jason, our bearer of bad news, take it away. Or bad-ish news.
Yeah. This is the Shinigami signing in, Bankai. So, at first we have Jeanette Mouse dies. Actress and acting teacher / coach was 39. This is by Eric Peterson for Deadline. Jeanette Mouse, an actress and acting teacher coach whose credits include Charm Kitty Kings and Lynn Shelton's Your Sister's Sister and My Effortless Brilliance, died Sunday night of colon cancer. She was 39. The news was...
She was also in, more recently, Resident Evil 8.
Yeah,
and that's why I wanted to highlight.
Yeah, she did mocap and voice performance capture for the, I want to say the sisters, like the witch sisters.
Yeah.
To follow the previous paragraph, the news was confirmed on social media by her fiance Dusty Warren. And he quotes, "It is with a shattered yet grateful heart that I inform you that Jeanette Mouse passed away late last night due to complications of cancer," Warden wrote on Facebook. And he says, following, "I'm really sad, but I'm super proud of her. She fought so hard with tremendous grace and optimism, inspiring myself and I'm sure many of you." And condolences to her family, her friends, and yeah, it's such a sad thing.
Pour one out. Condolences to the family.
Yeah.
I just wanted to highlight, since there was a GoFundMe, I thought it would be good to do, especially because Resident Evil 8 is something that people are still talking about. Something in recent memory because of the live stream last week.
If you're able to, if you can help out, go for the GoFundMe and show them some love. Next up is Sonic voice actor Roger Craig Smith may no longer be Sonic. This is by Jenny Latta for Siliconera. Roger Craig Smith, the Sonic the Hedgehog voice actor, appears to no longer be the voice of the character. He posted on Twitter on January 28th 2021, announcing the news. While vague, many elements of the message pointed to his role as Sonic. Update: Sega has confirmed it, thanks to Not Liquid on Resetera. First, Smith's tweet mentioned 10 years was an amazing run, and he has been Sonic's voice actor since Sonic Colors in November 2010. He also referenced the series Zones, posted a hedgehog emoji, and shared blue hearts, one of which was broken. And here's Smith's note: "Welp, 10 years was an amazing run, onwards to new zones. Much love to the fans who've been so kind, it's been an honor."
That's a nice touch. New zones.
Yeah.
Nobody's sure if people are thinking either they're switching the whole voice cast again for some reason, like they did back when he first became Sonic, or they're gonna have Ben Schwartz voice him because of the movie. I don't think they're gonna have Ben Schwartz, but
I do think Ben Schwartz is likely because he does voiceover work for a lot of animated shows, and I think it just fits the branding better for Sega for some reason. Who knows? Maybe they're gearing up for a new animated show that's closer to the movie. Yeah, and having Ben Schwartz.
I think there's gonna be a game, because they were hinting at a game for 2021, and I believe Sonic has an anniversary this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Could be. We'll see soon enough, I guess. Next up is AMD CEO says PS5 chip shortages will continue until mid-2021. This is by Jenny Latta for Siliconera. People looking for a next-gen console might still have a long wait ahead. AMD's fourth quarter and full year 2020 results suggest that manufacturing issues will result in continued Xbox Series X and PS5 chip shortages. The company's data and CEO, Dr. Lisa Su, suggested that the issue will continue until the middle of 2021. AMD also cited both consoles as being part of the cause of increased revenue. It noted its Q4 2020 enterprise, embedded, and semi-custom segment earnings, which include income from the PS5 and Xbox Series X chips, which were $1.28 billion. This is thanks to Tom's Hardware. Fun fact, AMD is clobbering much of the competition.
Yep. They're advancing their tech. They're doing better than Intel's doing now. You know?
Even doing better than NVIDIA in some cases. Mm-hmm. So, good for AMD. And I just want
a PS5 before Guilty Gear Strive comes out. That's all I want. That's all I want.
Same. Like, at this rate, I'll play PS5 maybe next year, or I don't know. Right. Maybe I'll join in next generation. Who knows?
That mid-console refresh they're going to do with the Pro version or whatever.
Yeah. Then they'll be like, oh, we don't want those old next-gen consoles. You can have those. Okay, that was the bad-ish news. Now to the good-ish news. Xbox Live...
In other news.
Xbox Live Gold price will not increase after all. This is by Oni Dino for Siliconera. Microsoft announced on January 22nd, 2021 that the Xbox Live Gold price would increase. However, less than 24 hours later, Microsoft reversed its decision via an official blog post. The price for the online service will stay the same. Additionally, free-to-play games will no longer require membership in the near future. Xbox players met the initial announcement with pushback, leading the company to reconsider. Microsoft stated that it messed up with its Xbox Live Gold cost increase. It further admitted that it failed to meet the expectations of players in regards to its multiplayer functionality. The main takeaways here are that the pricing structure will not change and free-to-play games will no longer require an Xbox Live Gold membership. Microsoft says that it's working on making this change as soon as possible in the coming months. As of January 23rd, 2021, the amended prices in US dollar are as follows: 1 month membership for $10, 3-month membership for $25, 6 months for $40, and 12 months for $60. this is good. So I don't have to pay a fee of, what was it going to be, $120 for Fortnite?
Yeah, I personally, I was okay with the price increase because they haven't increased it for 10 years, but good on them for not sticking through with it and taking the feedback. Like, definitely I do a little bit of community management at my job, so this is one of those like make or break type deals with people, and a lot of people are getting upset about it, and I get it. Like, money's tight, gaming's already expensive as is, so the less you gotta pay, the better.
Like, Zombie Kills on Twitter had a good breakdown of the reality of it all. Like, if you have family members who kind of rely on you to provide the Xbox Live membership, it suddenly becomes an impossibility when the price kind of doubles so much, or doubles. And also from a PR standpoint, Xbox doesn't want to lose the brand of being the most affordable place to game this generation. Like, Game Pass is winning so many hearts. Xbox Series S is steadily gaining ground in the console space, and then suddenly having this cloud hangover, all of that is just not doable. So it's good.
All right. Next is Phantasy Star Online 2 showcases updated graphics and photo mode. This is by Josh Tolentino for Siliconera. Sega held its latest PSO2 livestream event, the PSO2 Station, on January 23rd, 2021, and previewed a number of changes coming in future updates to the nearly 9-year-old MMORPG. Chief among the updates is a major graphical overhaul set to accompany the release of Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, the hybrid sequel reboot of PSO2. The Phantasy Star Online 2 graphic overhaul features updated textures, character models, and effects to bring PSO2 more in line with New Genesis's look. Most critically, new lobby action poses will be made available. The poses show off updated animation rigging for the characters, adding things like finger movement. Finally, you can set up a pinky swear or say no by crossing your index fingers together. Also showcased was the Screenshot Creator Studio, or SS Studio, a dedicated photo/posing mode featuring new graphical options, backdrops, and props to use for in-game photography. Other changes included new costumes and character creator options to match New Genesis. To celebrate the 20th anniversary of Phantasy Star Online, a PSO-themed event will also be held featuring Rico Tyrell, Ash Kanan, and Kirik from the original Dreamcast-based game. Players will be able to acquire their partner cards and summon them as NPC party members after clearing their client orders. The new update will also add a new event, a series of 12-player co-op raids that take place over multiple areas. Sega Mega fans will also appreciate the return of Arkship Fire Swirl, a quest based on Burning Rangers. I don't know what that is, but it's good. It's good that it's getting a graphical overhaul because it does not look great.
Definitely is still like PS2 era graphics in some regards. But other than that, the game's fun. I need to play it again. It's been a while, but
I couldn't get over the graphics, and I'm not usually picky with graphics. So I was like, and then they announced New Genesis, and I was like, well, I'll just wait.
Yeah. Okay, next up is Katsuhiro Harada wants to make a Pokken tournament sequel. This is by Benjamin Maltbie for Siliconera. Katsuhiro Harada, known for his work as a director on the Tekken franchise and producer of Pokken Tournament, tweeted that he would like to work on a Pokken Tournament sequel at some point in the future. Whether or not that happens isn't up to him though. According to the tweet, the decision isn't up to him, saying that, quote, "It's not what we decide, it's what they decide." The "we" in this statement is likely Pokken Tournament's developer Bandai Namco Entertainment, as Harada serves in the role of general manager for the company. Harada also said that the game was well received before adding that they have a good relationship with Nintendo and Pokemon Company Limited. So I kind of want to comment on that. I don't think the "we..." Well, wait. What did he say? It's not what we decide, it's what they decide. Oh, no, it's clarified. It's good, It's good. Yeah, so what do you think, Fogi? Do you think Pokken has a long life ahead of itself as a franchise, or
maybe? So it's so weird. Like, I have some friends in Georgia that are like really big in the Pokken community, and like I always forget that game exists until their tournaments and nationals come around at Pokemon events where like the trading card game is being played. And like the game doesn't have as much developer support as like you think it would. But I think it like with Harada and the Tekken franchise, and especially this Tekken 7, how much work he's put into making that game so global and so special this time around. I think if Harada just had the reins for it, it could be a lot better than what it is. But again, it's Nintendo and Pokemon and all that stuff. Pokken being stuck on the Wii U kind of killed it, in my opinion. And then going to the Switch, it was fine, but still, it's like the Switch is a weird console for fighting games to exist on outside of Smash Bros. You know, so I'd love to see Pokken get a sequel. I'd love to see Harada take the reins of that again, and I'd love to see that community get what they want. But I just Big Daddy Nintendo needs to do better.
What characters would you want to see if there was a new Pokemon?
Oh man, honestly, they have the Pokemon that I kind of enjoy in it, with Blaziken and Gengar. So I don't know. Was Hitmonlee in it recently?
No.
They should put Hitmonlee and Hitmonchamp in there, and the Hitmontop, the obvious fighting ones. I don't know why they're not in there. You know,
put it in Infernape.
Infernape 2 would be good. Oh man. Oh, we need the Diamond and Pearl remake. So bad.
Infernape, Rillaboom could. Well, he'd use his drumsticks as, but yeah.
You could do like Marowak as well, so that'd be cool.
You could do Cinderace.
Yeah.
Too.
All the fire types that are fighting types deep down inside.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say Cinderace is pure fire, and Incineroar is fire and dark. Well, Incineroar is also in Smash, but who cares?
Yeah.
Charizard's also in Smash.
Yeah.
And so is Mewtwo and Pikachu. So like you know. Anyways, yeah. Moving on from that. Hopefully, I hope we see a Pokken sequel someday because that game was cool. But moving on, leaker claims new Yakuza spin-off currently in development. This is from Siliconera by loading Benjamin Maltbie again. An anonymous leaker on 4chan has claimed that a spin-off game to Sega's Yakuza series is in the works. The claim was accompanied by screenshots that purportedly depict scenes from the project, one of which also contains a user interface element that might be used for debugging. It's worth noting that the screenshots are a bit blurry, lacking the clarity you would typically see in the screenshot of a modern game. But, what was it? One of the Assassin's Creed Origins, when it first leaked, it had a blurry screenshot, and it turned out being a real thing, so...
but still, it's 4chan, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. The biggest grain of salt.
Yeah.
A lot of big Yakuza fans who were like, yeah, this definitely looks like a thing that could be real, because they had like this detailed explanation of like going over Yakuza plot and like characters and other stuff. Okay. The leaker also made some claims about the game's story. According to them, this entry to the Yakuza series could feature a story based on Yakuza Online, although the poster didn't say definitively that this was the case, instead saying that this only seemed to be the basis for the story. Yakuza Online is a mobile game that released exclusively in Japan. If the information in the 4chan post is accurate, then the game will allow players to control Yakuza character Ryuji Goda, who served in the role of antagonist in Yakuza 2 before becoming the main character in later entries to the series. This includes his role as protagonist in Yakuza Online, which contains a story that depicts earlier chapters from the character's life. The spin-off could also contain familiar locations from Yakuza 5 and Yakuza 6. The claims are unverified, and 4chan has been a source of misleading rumors in the past.
Well, what's the head honcho's name again? Was it Togashi?
I don't know. You have to ask Michael Hyam about that. I don't know.
Wait. I'm looking it up. But he did say that, or they did make an announcement not too long ago that the next entry in the Yakuza franchise is being worked on. So this doesn't surprise me. So I'm wondering.
Your neighbor's dog seemed pretty excited.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, is this is this the same entry, or is this separate from what they're working on?
Something else?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder too. Only time will tell.
Yeah. Wait.
Also, just an aside, the Yakuza Remastered Collection is now available on Game Pass and Steam.
Yep.
So there you go.
So you can gotta show that Game Pass. You know.
Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, 3, 4, and 5 remastered, and then all we need are 6 and Like a Dragon, and you're good.
Boom.
Well, Like a Dragon's already on PC, but it's not on Game Pass. And I believe 6 is also on PC. I'm not sure.
6 isn't on PC just yet.
Oh, okay.
I got the announcement today that 3 and 5 were added to Steam.
Yeah. All right. Next story, Jason.
Yes. Okay, this is gonna be kind of tricky, but here goes. Konami to officially dissolve and restructure production divisions. This is by Kazuma Hashimoto for Siliconera. Konami officially announced that the corporation will dissolve, then restructure its production divisions. The website, both available in Japanese and English, stated that Konami will take action involving all three production divisions in response to the rapid market that surrounds the company. The restructuring and dissolution will be effective immediately on February 1st, my birthday, 2021. It also doesn't mean it is getting out of video games. Here's an official statement from a Konami representative. The announcement made refers to an internal restructure with production divisions being consolidated. We have not shut down our video gaming division. So this kind of got everyone talking last week or this week. With many of us thinking this spelled certain doom for Konami and their video games, but it just means that there's going to be less bureaucracy when it comes to development of games, so they can kind of be quicker with making decisions, and they only have to report to, I think, the CEO directly and not to middle management, and middle management goes to the CEO, so it's a lot smoother in terms of communication for them and a lot easier. So I guess we'll see how this will turn out.
Yeah, I just want people to know, like, restructures aren't fun. I went through one last year at my company that I'm at, and like, it sucks because, restructuring, they're just changing stuff up. That means they're getting rid of a lot of people, most likely. So if you see a Konami developer or somebody who works there saying anything on Twitter, don't go after them or attack them. Don't attack anybody. It's stressful times for those people. That's all I really want to add on that one.
It's not their decision. It's the higher ups that do all the decision making.
My mic messed up for a sec. It's fine now, but
hey, we're back.
I was neither gonna edit it in post, but because people were so quick to jump on on Twitter on Monday. People were so quick to just sell your games, Konami, and I'm just like, that's not what this is.
Yeah, no.
The restructuring, and people had to explain it, and no, they're not shutting down. They make too much money on Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh, Plinko machines.
Plinko?
Plinko's
a different thing.
I don't know. I think it's just the hunger brain that's going on right now. I was like, oh, bro, what?
Yeah.
My words, they don't mean anything.
All right. Next story. Metabots S will collaborate with Ghost in the Shell. This is by
That's a sick collaboration.
Kite Stenbuck for Siliconera. Imagineer announced the first ever collaboration event for Metabots S. The Metabots mobile game will add content inspired by Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex 2045. It will feature original Metabots and costumes based on characters from the sci-fi show. The collaboration will add 3 new Metabots inspired by Ghost in the Shell characters. Nine's leader is based on Motoko Kusanagi. Muscleborg is modeled after Bato, and Oil Clay bears resemblance to Tachikoma. Nine's leader and Muscleborg will be available through a limited pickup gacha pool, while Oil Clay is obtainable by gathering tickets from clearing the event-exclusive row battle. Imagineer will also add exclusive costumes based on Motoko and Makoto. Oh no, I guess it is Motoko. And Bato that can be worn by Metabots S characters Hisaki and Araze respectively. These costumes can be obtained from the ticket exchange as login bonuses. Metabots S is immediately available on Android and iOS devices in Japan. The game recently celebrated its first anniversary after it launched on January 23rd, 2020. The collaboration event will be held from February 4th to the 18th. Although Imagineer also released the Metabots Classics Plus compilation on Nintendo Switch, the franchise never had a localization outside Japan since the 2003 GameCube title Metabots Infinity. The trademark was even left to expire in Europe. Then another person eventually claimed it and triggered a lawsuit at the EU trademark court. Yeah, we talked about that last week. Somebody was just like, nobody's using this, so I'm going to use it. Imagineer was like, no, don't.
That's not how it works. You got to let it expire, and then you do something about it.
Yeah. So I didn't know those Metabots games were on Switch. Maybe I got to import a couple more games that I can't read.
Nothing wrong with that.
I already have Yokai Watch 4. Next story is Token Ranbu Online English version will launch in February. This is by Jenny Lotta for Siliconera. Sword Boys will soon be available in English, just like the Ship Girls. Oh yeah, the dating sim and the girls that were ships. On February 23rd, 2021, Joren will offer the Token Ranbu online English version of the game. The browser-based game will be free to play. People can pre-register immediately. In Token Ranbu Online, players are Kronos Ministry Saniwas. What? I don't know what that means. Sent from 2205 to protect the past. How? By recruiting weapons that are also attractive men. For example...
This is a gacha game, isn't it?
No, this is a free browser game. For example, the Kashu Kiyomitsu starter sword is an Uchi Katana. Your goal is to collect and train characters, which are also weapons like Naginatas, Tantos, Tsurugis, and Wakizashis. Gather resources and fight in main battles or ones against other players. The pre-registration rewards include 1 black horse, 1 brown horse, 1 omamori, 30 help tokens, 30 request tokens, 100,000 koban, 200,000 charcoal, 200,000 coolant, 200,000 steel, and 200,000 whetstone. And then there's a trailer. It'll launch on February 23rd.
This has a gacha screaming all over it.
on a browser?
Yeah, it rose by any other name.
Oh, it's definitely
it can still be a gacha.
It's still a gacha.
Anime adaptations are both available on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but like
I will play
the
this.
rise of gacha games.
I will play this.
Don't do it. Don't get to the gacha.
I will try this game to see if it is gacha. Well, I don't. I've played gacha games before. I never spend money on gacha.
Please don't. It's a trap.
But I just want to. See what these sword boys are like.
Oh no!
I mean,
That's
you
how
could
it
watch
starts.
the anime.
It's like Soul Eater, but everybody's a sword.
I mean, you could watch the anime.
Yeah, but that's not a game. That's not. I can't make content out of that.
There's always a way. There's always a way.
You're gonna just go there for the sword boys. The next thing you know, $300,000 later.
Yeah.
You wish. Nah. I don't think I've ever spent even $1 on a gacha game, unless Pokemon Go counts.
It's got gacha mechanics, but it's not inherent a gacha game.
And I haven't played Pokemon Go
since
2016, so like, or at least
back when the world was peaceful and then you can go outside.
Yeah. In the before times.
Right.
All right, next story. Moving on.
Next up, yeah. Koei Tecmo Q3 financial year 2020 earnings boosted by Hyrule Warriors. This is by Kite Stenbuck for Siliconera. Koei Tecmo published its earnings report for the third quarter of the current fiscal year ending in March 2021. It recorded about 44 billion yen, which is about $423 million US in sales, 19 billion yen, which is about $186 million US dollars in operating profits, and 29 or about 30 billion yen, which is 288 million US dollars in ordinary profit. Like ordinary profit, operating profit, man, they are on another level.
It makes no
ordinary
sense.
Profit. Yeah. These figures far surpassed the previous fiscal year. The operating profit had a whopping 201.2% raise. The company attributed this rise to Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity's huge success. The report mentioned that Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity surpassed 3.5 million shipments by the end of December 2020. That means 500,000 more copies were shipped after the initial announcement of the game, reaching 3 million shipments in its launch week. In the same document, Koei Tecmo also announced that Atelier Ryza 2 had sold 220,000 copies in Japan and Asia. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 14 Diplomacy and Strategy, expansion pack bundle has also sold 100,000 copies in the same region. You can click on the article for a full breakdown on the details. Yeah, I guess gamers were thirsty for Hyrule Warriors.
And let's not forget, I'm looking at the article. They're about to drop Persona 5 Strikers in the United States.
Yeah.
So they're about to. They're probably gonna beat their numbers somehow this coming year.
Also, I mean, not that it's as popular, but they also just dropped, Atelier Ryza here in the West.
Yeah.
Atelier Ryza 2, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Rise
Neo 2, yeah.
Yeah, Neo 2 Complete is dropping soon. Ryza definitely fills in the niche JRPG side of things.
Yeah.
Persona 5 Strikers is going to be interesting because while Persona is very popular, it doesn't sell gangbusters in comparison to, like, say, Final Fantasy or Legend of Zelda even.
Yeah.
So it could still do well for what it is, but I don't know if it's going to do the same numbers as Hyrule Warriors, but I might be wrong.
I think it's. I don't think it's gonna do Hyrule Warriors numbers, but I think it's gonna do really well, just because.
Yeah.
Especially with Joker being in Smash, because it's gonna be on Switch and PlayStation, right? Or just Switch Strikers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Strikers is Switch, PlayStation, and PC.
Yeah, like with a lot of the people alone that were just hyped for Joker being in Smash, that's gonna be some numbers on the Switch sales alone. So it'll be. I think it's gonna bring in a lot of dough. Imagine your job is just to take other properties and make a game for them, and you're not even the main company behind the property, and you're getting buckets of cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
All right. I'm really excited for Strikers. I was actually just watching some gameplay the other day because my friend was telling me, oh, it's less Dynasty Warriors and there's more Persona 5. Like, a lot of it is like the all the same mechanics of Persona 5 except for the battling. And I'm like, huh. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, it is. It's basically Persona 5 without the turn-based combat. It's combat, but not turn-based.
Which I think will be interesting. And it looked like, when I was watching it, looked like the areas were a little more open than a regular Persona 5.
I think they're open, but still kind of contained.
They're still contained, but they're just like bigger. They're bigger than or they seem
we'll see about
bigger. At least to me, they seem a little bigger, a little less constricted. But next story, Magnum Allo themed Monster Hunter Rise Switch bundle revealed. This is by Onedino for Siliconera. Celebrating the upcoming title's release, Nintendo revealed a Monster Hunter Rise Switch bundle. The whole package comes with a fancy design on the console, the front of the dock, and the Joy-Cons. In addition to this, Nintendo will also release a Monster Hunter Rise Switch Pro controller. As of January 26, 2021, Nintendo only announced these items for Japan. They have now announced it for Europe and Australia, but not the US. Priced at 38,400 yen, about $370. The bundle will launch on March 26, 2021. In addition to the special Monster Hunter Rise Switch Bundle console, the package contains a download code for the game, and the Deluxe Kit DLC, The main game will come pre-installed on the system. Oh, never mind. So, download code for Monster Hunter Rise Deluxe Kit DLC. The main game will come pre-installed on the system. As a reminder, the Deluxe Kit DLC comes with special gear for your Hunter, Palicos, and Palamutes, along with emotes, an extra hairstyle, and face paint. And then they have a full list of the bundle's content. That's about it. This Switch is okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
It's all right. It's not the Animal Crossing Switch.
I would have preferred it to be a different color than the standard black. But just because, like, if you're making a special edition, make it a special color.
Yeah.
That Dragon Quest
a little more
11
pop
one,
to it would be nice for sure.
That Dragon Quest 11 one still looks slick.
I mean, the dark blue and gold would have been nice colors.
They already did that for the Dragon Quest. That's what they did for the Dragon Quest 11 one. Or no, was it dark blue and silver?
I mean, I think that one was dark blue and silver, yeah.
But, I don't know. I just think, like, this just seems like... And I know it's splitting hairs. It's like, oh, it just seems like they slapped a design on a regular old Switch. It's like, yeah, that's what all special edition Switches are. But I mean, like, I don't know. It feels less special in a way. Just being that not having, like, some kind of color exclusive to it. It's still cool. Don't get me wrong. It just could have been a little cooler.
Yeah. Okay, next story is Jump Force DLC character Yoriichi Shuin launches February 2nd. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Jump Force downloadable content character Yoriichi Shuin, the Goddess of Flash, from Bleach will launch on February 2nd for $3.99 and as part of the $17.99 Character Pass 2. Publisher Bandai Namco and developer Spike Chunsoft announced.
I keep asking
Character Pass 2 owners.
Every time sorry, fit it.
Yeah.
Fit.
Character Pass 2 owners will receive access to the character on January 29th. Jump Force is available now for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC via Steam, and you can check the trailer down below. So click on the article.
I ask this every time we have a Jump Force piece of news. Who is still playing this game? I thought people hate this
know. I want to find them and just ask them, do you need help? Are you being forced to play against your will? Because, like, the game is not good. I'm sorry. It's just they did the thing that we've always wanted and have all of our anime characters be in one game and fight each other, and they didn't do it right. They just didn't do it right.
I think it's well, we got into this on Twitter, I think last year, November, where someone replied to one of my tweets and said, yeah, it's not the greatest, but I like it because I can just come back from work and take a load off and just button mash and be on my merry way.
Yeah.
So I think it's for people who don't want to go all in too deep on fighting games, and definitely people who love anime, who love the Shonen Jump characters, who want their characters on screen in a video game but have nothing else. So they just take the road with least resistance and just buy Jump Force. And
I was super hyped when this game got announced. I wasn't in love with the art style. And then I played it at PAX South 2019 before launch, and I was like, yeah, this is not it. This just isn't it, man. And so it came out, people bought it, and they got duped for their $60. I'm like, I can't do it. I just can't. I can't make myself do this to myself. But good on them, because it's got to be making some form of money if they keep adding stuff to it.
Yeah. And I mean, anime fans will basically eat up every bit of merchandise. Yep. So as long as we keep buying it, they'll keep putting it out.
I think Timur from GameSpot did a video about this, I think last year, talking about how, like, why we always have bad anime games. Like, yeah, we keep giving these people money. Like Dragon Ball FighterZ, if you were telling me that Dragon Ball FighterZ and Jump Force, before I saw them, like in person were made by the same developer, I would be like, you're lying to me.
They're not the same, not the same developer, right?
Well, same publisher,
but they publish a bunch of
same
anime
publisher.
games, so it's not like
But I think it's also the thing with Dragon Ball Fighters is Dragon Ball as a franchise is also so old and so well established that they can get away with experimenting with things like that. Like, we'll put out an arena fighter, but over here we'll go all in on super deep mechanics and such.
And 25 different versions of Goku for some reason.
Yeah. But with Jump Force, it's a balancing act of, okay, we have a lot of characters. Some of you don't know all of them. Some of you do. And we don't have any idea how to balance this properly. So we're just gonna jump it all throw it all into an arena fighter and call it a day.
Like I said,
so,
once it gets like a full edition and they stop adding characters, if that ever happens, I'll get it and I'll play it just for fun. Not for any like.
Well, there is a complete edition,
and it comes with. I think we've been over this, and it comes with all future.
Yeah.
Okay. But also, they should just, they can make more. They can make games out of different anime series that aren't just arena fighters. We've talked about this before.
They could, and last week we spoke about this.
JRPGs every once in a while, based on we got Fairy Tail recently, and that was all right. But there's like
last
we
week
used to get in the mid 2000s. We got, they weren't that great, but they were okay. We got Inuyasha's Secret of the Cursed Mask. We got the Full Metal Alchemist games. I guess the Legacy of Goku series kind of counts.
But don't you then run into the same problem with arena fighters, with it just being an RPG
I'm not saying
for the lowest common denominator?
They should only be like JRPGs. I'm just saying we could do more than just arena fighters.
Yeah, but then you're definitely gonna run into the same phenomenon where they're just gonna pump it out and not do the best job with it just because it's gonna sell on the brand name alone.
Cash grabs.
We'll see.
They're just gonna throw it up.
We'll see, because Fairy Tail was not bad. It was just, if you weren't a fan of the series, it wasn't great because it didn't have a good recap, and it took place at like a time, like kind of in the middle of the series. So because the other games that had been Japan exclusive had gotten up to that point. So it's just, I don't know. We're getting, I think we'll get better games in the future. Speaking of which, Jason.
Fingers crossed. Next up is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Hinokami Kepputan. News set for February 8th, due issue of Weekly Shonen Jump. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Publisher Aniplex and developer CyberConnect 2 will share the latest information on Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Hinokami Kepputan in the February 8th due issue of Weekly Shonen Jump, according to the latest issue of the magazine. Wait 1 second. Weekly Shonen Jump tends to leak on the Thursday before its release. The aforementioned latest issue is actually due out on February 1st, but leaked today. That being said, the content from the February 8th due issue containing the latest information on Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Hinokami Kepputan will likely leak ahead of its release on February 4th. The game is set to be released on PS4 in 2021 in Japan.
So this is what kind of game is this? Do we know?
It's most likely going to be a fighting game, like in the vein of the Ultimate Ninja games.
Again.
I said most likely. I don't know because it's CyberConnect 2, and CyberConnect also made Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and that's an action RPG for what it's worth. So it could go various ways. It could be like an action RPG, it could be a fighting game, it could be an RPG because they also made Dot Hack, so who knows really.
I just started watching Demon Slayer finally because it's on Netflix. I'm on episode, I want to say I'm on episode 4 or 5. It's pretty good. I mean, as far as Shonen goes.
You sweet summer child, you have seen nothing yet.
I watched Dead Man Wonderland. I've seen a lot. Are you going to tell me it gets more violent than Dead Man Wonderland?
Dead Man Wonderland, the anime is not the best. Let's just say...
Dead Man Wonderland is great, and it deserves a Brotherhood level second chance.
I don't know about that.
How dare you? Get off my
Demon
podcast.
Slayer. Demon Slayer is definitely worth the hype, and I'm really looking forward to the movie dropping soon.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
But you just getting into it, you have a really good, fun road ahead of you.
And yes, I am watching the dub.
Yeah, which is fine.
Well, I mean, both audio tracks are on Netflix, but you know.
Yeah.
Fogi, you have any thoughts on Demon Slayer?
I haven't watched a lot of it, but what I did watch, I wasn't a huge fan of it. But I gotta give it another shot.
You're breaking my heart.
But I'll say this. I need to give it. I'll need to reset my palate on it, and then I gotta watch it again, and then I'll try it out.
Okay. It just dropped on Netflix in the US.
Yeah,
so.
I saw that because I was watching it on Adult Swim every now and then at work, just to like get the references and stuff. And I was like, all right, I'll just wait until the rest of it's out. And then it went to Netflix. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a shake.
Yeah, that's what I like meant to start it a while back because it's been on Hulu like forever, and it's like, oh, they actually have the dub on there. Okay, fine. Next story. Final Fantasy XIV patch 5.45 will release in early February. This is by Kazuma Hashimoto for Siliconera. The latest information regarding Final Fantasy XIV patch 5.45 has been shared through the official website. This includes new info about the Save the Queen Relic Weapon questline and new content for Blue Mage, scheduled to release on February 2nd. With this update, the Save the Queen Relic Weapon questline will continue. A new large-scale battle will be added into Final Fantasy XIV, titled Delubrum Reginae. This area is described to be the remains of the Queen Gunhilder's kingdom and where shrine maidens had previously come to pray. Final Fantasy XIV patch 5.45 will not only implement more spells for Blue Mage to learn, but also raise the level cap of the job to 70. This includes changes to the Blue Mage logs that will see the inclusion of content from Final Fantasy XIV patch 4.0 and onward. Additionally, a new set of Blue Mage specific gear will be available to obtain with the new update patch. And lastly, the Sky Steel Tools upgrade questline will receive an update as well. However, new information regarding the Sky Steel Tools, that's hard to say, upgrade questline is scarce. Ahead of the upcoming Final Fantasy XIV announcement showcase, Square Enix has listed the streaming platforms the broadcast will be held on. This includes Twitch, YouTube, and Nico Nico. I need to get back into Final Fantasy XIV at some point. Blue Mage is pretty fun.
I've never played it, but I'm happy for the community.
Blue Mage is fun because you're learning the attacks of the in-game enemies. But it's been a limited class for a long time, so it's nice that they're adding stuff. Next real quick story. Platinum Games' 5th Platinum 4 announcement, smaller in scale, but something fans will get a kick out of. This is something we've had in the works for a while, says Hideki Kamiya. This is by Sarumato for Gamatsu. The 5th bonus stage announcement part of Platinum Games' Platinum 4 series will be a little smaller in scale, but something fans will get a kick out of, Platinum Games co-founder Hideki Kamiya told VGC. We want to reveal it at the right time, but what we can say at the moment is that this was always intended as the Platinum 4, so I think the expectation should be for something extra, Kamiya said. That being said, this is something that we've had in the works for a while. The announcement was previously planned for 2020, but the date on the Platinum 4 website has since been updated to 2021. Kamiya commented, "We wanted to get this out a little sooner, but then the coronavirus happened," which I know is a common excuse, but we hope that we can start talking about it. It will bring a smile to our fans' faces, and we'll get a good reaction like, "Ah, we love those Platinum guys." On the topic of whether this will be a major announcement or not, Kamiya said, if we had to choose one end of the spectrum, then I'd probably say it's something a little smaller in scale, but it's still something I'm hoping fans will get a kick out of. What could it be? If it's not Bayo
Smaller
3.
in scale. Smaller in scale.
I think
I'm guessing a mobile game.
Probably. Those are all the
Don't say that.
Yeah. Hey man, it makes a lot of money. It's the logical choice.
We'll see what it
Throw
is.
a gotcha mechanic
Also-
in there. Done. Getting paid.
But that aside, the mobile gaming segment is the biggest segment in the world, like bar none. And it'd be foolish to waste that opportunity and not capitalize on so many people having a phone. So it's not all that cynical that they just want to make money, but it could be that they're trying to reach a whole new segment of fans that they previously have not been engaging with. So we'll see. Our final news story for the week is Rabbids' Twitter account temporarily changed to Mario Rabbids. This is by Jenny Alada for Siliconera. Something might be happening involving both Super Mario and Ubisoft's Hot Rabbids again. On January 27, 2021, the official Twitter account for the characters changed from Rabbids Official to Mario Rabbids. Since then, the account has returned to its normal name. This has led speculation that a new game featuring these characters could be in the works. So yeah. Any thoughts on the Mario and Rabbids franchise?
That franchise that game did surprisingly well, so I think you'd be probably get another offshoot. I mean, Mario games sell like hotcakes regardless, so
Definitely a possibility.
Yeah. The first game was really fun, like surprisingly fun.
So it was like XCOM, but Mario and more cartoony.
Yeah. I really underestimated how much I'd enjoy it, and
I think a lot of people did.
I'm really bummed that I'm really bummed that I didn't stick with it longer, but I just had so many other things to get into. So I'm happy there might be a possibility of a sequel.
Yeah.
So here's to the future.
All right. So moving on to our main topic, which has to do with something we talked about in the J list briefly. Why are there no good modern kaiju games yet? I was looking these stuff up, and even the older games, most of them, the highest score they've gotten were like 7 out of 10s, which is not bad, but they were usually worse than that. Even stuff like the Rampage series, which, you know, is nostalgic for a lot of people, not that great of reception. You know, I put the Rampage series, the Godzilla fighting trilogy, which a lot of people are nostalgic for, and that's Destroy All Monsters, Melee, what are the other two? Save the Earth, and Godzilla Unleashed.
I think it's just such a niche genre. It's just hard to like really like get a feel for if it's gonna sell.
I also mean like where you just to be clear, I mean where you play as a kaiju. So Monster Hunter and Shadow of the Colossus and stuff like that don't
count.
But I have seen, you know what's interesting is certain games that aren't, you know, based around that kind of get stuff really close. Like, have either of you ever played Shadow of War?
Yes.
So
I played Shadow of Mordor, the first one.
Oh, so
yeah,
in
I
Shadow
have played
of
that
War,
one.
there's this like being, this like nature spirit called Karnan, and at one point she turns into like basically like a ant tree kaiju to fight the Balrog, and you're riding on her back and I think it's a I don't know if it's but it feels like a kaiju fight is my point.
Okay, what would you like to see in your ideal kaiju game?
Project GG.
That's not saying much, but what would you like to see? What do you think would make a good kaiju game?
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I will say for me, I'd like one where you play as both. You play mainly as the monster, but also where you see the reverse. Like there's like a human character as well. You control certain times.
Yeah.
And, like they interact, like kind of like the Godzilla 2014 movie. How you saw like Miles Teller. I think not Miles Teller. The guy that played Kick-Ass. They look the same. Yeah. You see like stuff from his angle.
Yeah.
At times, like you play through his part of the game, but also you play as mainly like the monster as well.
There was that Godzilla 2014 game, but it turned out being not great. Again, same problem. And then, of course, Japan gets stuff like City Shrouded in Shadows, which is a disaster report spinoff. You still play as a human, but it has almost every giant monster you could think of. Ultraman, Godzilla, Gamera, the angels from Neon Genesis Evangelion. It would be a licensing nightmare for us over here. Outside of Japan. But it's just all of these, like, you would think, because again, the most recent things I can think of are the Override duology, which are just they're fighting games and they're kind of like party games in a way, but like
there's some people in my Discord that love those games.
They're very limited in how you control the robot, and I understand why, because they have to be that way so you can do the multiplayer thing with. But like, I wonder if there's just a way to. That's why I'm so curious about Project GG, because it's by it's a giant monster game essentially. It's an Ultraman game by Platinum essentially. So I wonder if it will have the same weight as something like a more Pacific Rim-like game, or like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
a Pacific Rim game would be tight.
Well, there is a Pacific Rim game, and it wasn't very good.
Not that one. Not that one.
Well, luckily I haven't seen it to ruin my blind ambition for it.
Like, I can see a Pacific Rim game working, but it also kind of dovetails into psychological horror, because Pacific Rim deals with trauma and human bonds.
Pacific Rim VR.
I don't think. Yeah, maybe. So it kind of would be like something that you'd see in 13 Sentinels, where it'd be part visual novel, part you bashing around an arena. But for how long would that be fun? Because I played Override, and that kind of lost its luster after 5 minutes. So I'm kind of struggling to see how fun a kaiju game would be for a long run.
A lot of the retro ones are more fun, but they're very dated at this point. Like, I swear by, have either of you ever played War of the Monsters?
No, I've not.
No, but I'm familiar.
One of my favorite PS2 games ever. Probably one of the first PS2 games I got too. It's a Sony. Have you heard of it, Fogi? At least, or
no. The PS2 era is like not a blur, but like I lived vicariously through other people for PS2.
Okay. So War of the Monsters
same.
is available on PS4 and PS5. It is basically an homage to giant monster movies of like the 50s. So instead of having actual characters, you have like you have your bootleg, or like you have like a King Kong character, Kongar, and you have the Godzilla character, Togera, one character called Ultra V, who's a little more like kind of like a Mazinger, or like kind of Gundam-ish. A different robot that I forgot his name, but he's more like the Western like 50s giant robot with the claws and the one red eye, you know what I'm saying? Basically, and also one of the costumes is Mecha Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal Black, because it's the same developer.
Nice. Little Twisted Metal.
But so it's just a fighting game with a bunch of kaiju, and it's really fun, but the camera's not great, and it still feels a little bit dated, but like, and the kaiju are, you don't feel the weight as much in that game because they're closer to like the movies where like Godzilla is smaller, so they're not like completely, like they still crush humans like ants, but you can climb, you're able to climb buildings and stuff like that.
Okay, so I'm kind of worried you're coloring it with rose tinted glasses and yeah, but does it mean that it would hold up in a modern era?
No, I'm not saying I said it's dated. I'm just saying like that's the one I always see people remember, but it doesn't have that sense of weight that a lot of people would want from a kaiju game. But then on the other hand, you could go the other way and people were like, oh, this moves too slow, like Godzilla 2014, which maybe it did move a little too slow for movement and what you were doing, but there has to be a balance somewhere, right? And like, I don't know why nobody's been able to figure that out yet.
I mean, Fight Crab has it.
I mean, even our discussion here is kind of going back and forth between what we think could work and what hasn't worked, and I think that just showcases how difficult this genre is. Like, how do you make a giant monster fun and engaging, and not just for 5 minutes? Like, it's such a difficult thing. And do you put a story in it? Do you not take it seriously?
Well, you definitely don't take it seriously.
But I think
you can.
But like, I think like the problem is that most people, I guess this is gonna be weird to say, gamers a little more, they want a little more of like a meal with their games nowadays.
Yeah.
And so like Jason's saying, like with kaiju games, it's like, well, you have so much there for a bit, but after chapter 1 and 2 is like, okay, where's the variation at? Where's the new mechanic? Or where's something else at? You know.
Because like we have these Monster Hunter games are super popular, and half the time there are technically kaiju fights in it. So,
but that's not the main attraction, though.
But I'm just saying, like, there are developers that know how to make giant monsters feel giant, is what I'm saying. So I'm wondering if at some point in the future, some big company, not necessarily Capcom, but some big developer is going to try their hand at besides Platinum.
The one game that to me jumps out is the King Kong game on GameCube and PS2, 360. Yeah, it was based on a Peter Jackson movie, and you play as Kong in that game, and
not in the whole game either.
Not in the whole game. Just like variation, because sometimes you're Jack, sometimes you're Kong, and it has such a fun feeling to it, and it's not just monster bashing. It's you figuring out how to traverse the environment. It's you trying to figure out how to make use of your abilities, and I think that's the sweet spot. It's not just being a straightforward fighting game or like a War of the Monsters or kind of like Override. It has to be more, because.
But the thing is, people always complain. The thing about, I guess it's different when it's a game. But like I'm thinking about when kaiju movies, people are like, "Oh, I don't want to watch the human stuff." Because that's more, but people don't realize that the human stuff has always been an element of kaiju movies. It just depends on how you do it.
Yeah, that's why I said like having an element where you play as both the kaiju and the human at some point, or like a main human attraction. That way, it gives a story and like a beat to it as well.
That's why I think like Project GG really could be that, because Hideki Kamiya is definitely an Ultraman fan, because this is part of his Hero trilogy, where Beautiful Joe was Kamen Rider, Wonderful 101 is Super Sentai, and then Project GG is Ultraman.
Beautiful Joe, you're speaking my language.
So we'll see what happens. I thought this I don't know. I thought I have more to say about this, but maybe we should get somebody else who's who's more of an expert.
It's a
on
tricky
the topic.
subject. It's a tricky subject.
It's just a really niche category of games.
Yeah.
Like the Soulsborne games.
But,
like it's a very niche category, but people like love them.
But it's so interesting
for some reason
that like in some games that aren't like they're not kaiju games, but they have mechanics in certain sections that could be transferred to a kaiju game, like rather easily. I feel like Shadow of War.
I disagree because a single element does not make a single make a whole
I'm saying
game.
they
So
could use it as like a rough outline kind of thing. Like start with that and then build around and then just kind of build around it a bit. But
yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that easy.
no, but I'm just saying there's stuff there. So I'm just wondering, like, will we see more in the future? I hope so. We need a fun kaiju fighting game again.
I'd be down for one of those.
Yeah,
Godzilla, Ultraman, whatever.
All right, I think that's a good place to wrap up.
We don't have listener questions this week.
Fogi, once again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's been a lot of fun. Do you have anything you want to pimp out? Do you have anything you want to plug?
I don't do the shilling as much anymore on other people's stuff, but I'll leave this message. Just be kind to each other, whoever's listening to this. Like, the world's pretty messed up and dark right now. Just be good to each other and, like, watch out for each other, man. It's just rough. And so check in on your friends, go outside, take a walk, drink plenty of water, and get some sleep.
Wise words to live by. Well, this has been a great week. This has been Erroll. This has been Jason. Be kind to one another, as Fogi said. Stay safe. Wash your hands. And we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matinee.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.